Hello guys, welcome to Bhavna's Online Academy. So in this video, we are going to see the remaining illustrations of the chapter Consolidated Financial Statements. So let me tell you already, I have provided a video of concepts, a 2-hour video which covers all the concepts that you need to solve this chapter. In the second video, I have given you all the examples of ICI material. In the third video, I have provided you illustrations from 1 to 8. And in this video, we are going to cover the remaining illustrations starting from illustration number 9. Okay, so this is what is going to be covered in the video. The link of the rest of the 3 videos will be in the description box below. So make sure to check these 3 videos so that you are able to comfortably understand the part number 4 of CFS. Okay, perfect. So now let's start with illustration number 9. So in illustration number 9, they tell you that on 31st March 2001, which is your date of acquisition, P Limited acquires 1,05,000 shares of Q Limited. So this 1,05,000 share represents your holding interest. For how much rupees have they acquired this? For 12 lakh rupees, which is your purchase consideration. Okay. Then they have given the position of Q Limited as on the date of acquisition. So they have given you the assets, equity as well as the liabilities. Okay. Then they are saying on 31st March 2003. That means they have acquired it on 2001. They are showing the balance as on 2003, which means on date of consolidation is after, the date of consolidation given is after 2 years. Okay. So on date of consolidation, again they have given you a balance sheet extract where you again have your equity, liability and assets as well. Okay. Then in the question they tell you the directors of Q Limited, which is directors of the subsidiary company, they are making a bonus issue in the ratio of 1 equity share of 10 each, fully paid for 2 equity shares held on the same date. So what they are saying is on the date of consolidation, they are telling you that in case if you have 2 shares which you are holding in the company already, 1 share for that we will issue as a bonus to you. That means how much ever you are holding, half of it we are going to issue as a bonus to you. Okay. And how was this bonus issued? It was issued out of the post acquisition profits using the general reserve. So using the post acquisition profits, they have issued the bonus. Okay. So in the question, they are telling you to find out what is the cost of control or capital reserve. That means your goodwill or capital reserve. They are asking you to find out the minority interest, consolidated profit and loss account, or what we call as group reserve, in 2 following cases. So 2 following cases again. First, find out all these 3 before the issue of bonus, and after the issue of bonus, you have to find out. Okay. So now let me open the answer key for you. So this is the answer key which I have provided for all the ICI illustrations. So the ICI does not follow a standard format, because of which I have made this answer key, and this answer key will be available on the Telegram channel. So you can download this for free from there. And the link of the Telegram channel will also be in my description box below. Okay. So starting with the illustration number 9. So illustration number 9, case 1 we are going to see, which is before bonus issue. We are going to see what has happened. First, the date of acquisition was on 31st March 2001. Date of consolidation is 31st March 2003, which means it's a gap of 2 years. And this entire gap of 2 years will be considered as a post period only. Okay. Then in the question, they have told you that you have acquired 1,05,000 shares. The holding company has acquired 1,05,000 shares. How much shares was there in the subsidiary company at the date of acquisition? So at the date of acquisition, there was 1,50,000 shares. If you see here, 1,50,000 shares was there in the subsidiary company. So if the holding has acquired 1,05,000 shares, if the holding company has acquired 1,05,000 shares out of the total 1,50,000 shares of the subsidiary company, it has acquired a holding interest of 70%. And so the remaining 30% is going to be held by the minority interest. Okay. Now let's move on to doing the analysis of reserve. So here there is going to be a pre-profit and there is going to be a post-profit reserve. Okay. So in the question, what they tell you is that if you move on to the question, so here you can see that they have told you clearly that there is a 30,000 worth of pre-incorporation profits, and P&L on the date of acquisition was 60,000. So first let's go and write down that. So in case if you see here in the question, they told you that pre-incorporation profit was 30,000 and P&L was 60,000. This was a pre-period thing. Okay. So now in the post period, how much have they earned? We need to find out that, correct? So now if you go into the post column, if you see there are again 3. One is, there is totally 4. In that, how much is related to Q Limited, you have to see, because we are doing the analysis of reserves of Q only. So Q has a pre-incorporation profit of 30,000, general reserve of 19,05,000 and P&L account balance of 4,50,000. This is all on the date of consolidation. Okay. Yes. So now let's go back to the question and write the same things. There was a total on the date of consolidation. The total was pre-incorporation profit 30,000, general reserve 19 lakh 5,000 and P&L account 4 lakh 20,000. So if you see in the pre-incorporation profit first, total is 30,000. Already in the pre-column we have 30,000. Therefore, there is no post. Okay. If you go in the general reserve, the total is 19 lakh 5,000, out of which there is no pre. So the entire thing is going to be post only. Okay. If you see in the P&L, 4 lakh 20,000 is the total, whereas we have already told that 60,000 is the pre-period balance. The remaining 3,60,000 is going to be a post period balance. So now will you ask me whether this post period remaining balance, whatever is there, will it get bifurcated into pre or post? The answer is no, because we have already discussed about that the entire 2 years is a post. So whatever we have earned apart from the pre profits, which is already given in the question, or on date of acquisition, apart from that, after that, whatever we have earned, entire thing is going to be post only. Okay. So then we find out the total and split it into holding interest and minority interest. Okay, perfect. Next, we move on to finding out the net assets taken over of the subsidiary company. Here we use the equity approach to find out that. So already we had read that there was 1,50,000 shares of 10 rupee each in the subsidiary company. So 15 lakh is the share capital. In pre-acquisition reserve, we have already seen about 90,000. 90,000 is the pre-acquisition reserve. So totally 15,90,000 is the net assets taken over. Okay. From that, now we have to find out cost of control. So what is the purchase consideration as given in the question? It is 12 lakh rupees. There is no pre-acquisition dividend. There is no bonus issue. So only thing we are left with is the net assets share. So net assets total is 15,90,000, out of which holding interest share is 70%. So the total net assets what we have acquired is worth 11,13,000, and what we paid for getting it is 12 lakh. So we paid 87,000 more, which means we have created a goodwill there. Okay. Then next we move on to find out what is the minority interest on date of consolidation. We are finding all of this because this is asked in the question. They have asked what is the cost of control, what is the minority interest, and what are the consolidated reserve. Okay, so minority interest on date of acquisition is the same thing. How much are the net assets on date of acquisition? 15,90,000. Minority share is 30%. So 4,77,000 is the minority interest on date of acquisition. What are the post acquisition reserve? For that you have to refer the as analysis of reserves table. On analysis of reserves table, minority interest post acquisition is 6,79,500. So 6,79,500 you write here. There is no bonus issue. So that means there is no bonus issue on date of acquisition. Right now we are preparing before bonus working notes. Okay, so remember that. So for now there is no bonus issue. Okay, so the total would be minority interest on date of consolidation is 11,56,500. Next is consolidated reserves. So there are 3 reserves in the holding company if you see here. So if you see there are 3. One is security premium, they have general reserve, and then they have P&L account. Okay. So you write all of those balances. Here. And what is the post acquisition reserve which relates to holding interest? So it is 15,85,500. So this 15,85,500 you go and club it with the P&L account. So this is your final total balance of your consolidated reserve. So all of this was before bonus issue. Now in case on date of consolidation after bonus issue, what will be the working notes we are going to see? This is after bonus issue. Okay. So date of acquisition, consolidation, holding interest, minority interest, everything remains the same. You will ask me how is the holding interest remaining the same? Because what happens if the share of holding interest is increasing, proportionately the total number of shares in the company are also increasing. Example, they are saying that they have totally 1,50,000 shares in the company, and on top of that they are issuing shares in the ratio of 1:2. Sorry. So if 1,50,000 shares are there in the company, they are issuing a bonus share of 75,000 in the ratio of 1:2, means half of that they are again issuing as bonus issue. 75,000 shares they are issuing. In that 75,000 shares again, 70% is issued to the holding interest, or rather we can say since holding interest already has 1,05,000 shares with them, for that they again get a bonus issue in the ratio of 1:2, which is 50:500. Okay, which is 50:500. So totally here what is going to happen is that the numerator becomes 1,05,000 plus 50% of it, which is 1,57,500, and the denominator becomes 1,50,000 plus 50%, because we are again issuing half of the shares. So the holding interest, how will you calculate is 1,57,500 divided by 2,25,000. So the holding interest is 70% again. Okay, so we have here, what we have done is here basically we have added the bonus issue which has been issued, the bonus shares which have been issued, we have added up. Okay, and the rest of it is going to be the minority interest, which is 30%. Next, we move on to analysis of reserves. So in analysis of reserves, what is going to happen is until the total is going to be the same only. There is only going to be difference in the bonus adjustments. So usually, like I already told you, if the bonus has been issued from the post acquisition reserves, then before time adjustments, there is going to be no effect of it. Only after time adjustments, there is going to be a bonus adjustment. So in case if you are issuing your bonus from post acquisition reserve, after you do the time adjustment, in this question there's no time adjustment, but usually if there is, you have to do the time adjustment. After doing the time adjustment, you have to reduce that bonus value from the post acquisition reserve column. This I've already taught you in the concept video. Okay, so refer to that video if you have to understand the bonus adjustments also. Okay, so bonus, how much have you issued? So 1,50,000 shares were there in the total company. You issued it in the ratio of 1:2, and for each share, each bonus share you would have issued it at face value only, which is 10. Okay, so 7,50,000 worth of reserves would have been used up to issue the bonus share. This must have been used to issue the bonus shares. Okay, so 7,50,000 you deduct it from the post acquisition column. So if you do this, you will get your new total of pre acquisition and post acquisition, that you bifurcate into holding interest and minority interest. What will be the adjustment if we issue bonus share from the pre-acquisition reserve? If you want to know this, please watch my concept video. There I've explained everything in detail. I'm not going to re-explain it here. Okay, next you're going to find what are the net assets taken over. The share capital is 15 lakh rupees, which remains the same. Pre-acquisition reserve is also the same, 90,000. So 15 lakh 90,000 is your net assets taken over. Cost of control. So cost of control, here your purchase consideration. So here one mistake that you all should not make is that here when you're writing share capital, please do not include the bonus shares. Please do not include the bonus share. Don't make this mistake, because anyway below when we are finding out the cost of control or minority interest, we give a effect of bonus here. So in the net assets taken over, you need not give that effect. Okay, fine. I hope you understood. If you give the bonus effect here, in case if you are giving the bonus effect here, then below you should not give. So it's always easier to follow the format I've given you. So don't include the bonus issue here. Okay. So cost of control, which means goodwill or capital reserve. So goodwill or capital reserve, how will you find? First, purchase consideration of 12 lakh will come. No pre-acquisition dividend. The net assets taken over will be 15 lakh 90,000 into 70%. So you have acquired net assets worth 11 lakh 13,000. Then you have got a bonus issue. Bonus issue of how much? You have got a bonus issue for 52,500 shares. How did you get this number of shares? You already had 1,05,000 shares. Half of it, again 1:2 ratio, they are issuing bonus. So bonus will be for 52,500 shares. That at the face value you do it. So again 5,52,000 worth, 5,25,000 worth of bonus shares you have got. So this is how much you have paid, and these both is how much you have got. So 4,38,000 is what you have got more. So her capital reserve is going to be created here. Okay, the holding interest has got 4,38,000 more. So capital reserve is going to be created here. Fine, perfect. Next we move on to finding out what is the minority interest. So minority interest on date of acquisition was 15 lakh 90,000 into 30%, which was 4 lakh 77,000. Then they also received a post acquisition reserve, which you can find out from this column. From your post acquisition column, minority interest, which is 4,54,500. Then they also again received a bonus issue of 22,500 shares at 10 rupees each. So that you will calculate here, and the total will come up to 11,56,500. Your doubt might be, here we are reducing the bonus issue, but here we are adding the bonus issue. Here you are seeing, by reducing, you are seeing how much you have acquired. Here by adding up, you are seeing how much you have acquired in total. So you already had this, then you got this, then you got this. Okay, so here we'll add the bonus issue. Here we will reduce the bonus issue. I hope you understood the logic. Then finally, consolidated reserve, how you find out? The same thing will come above. And here post acquisition reserve alone, there will be a difference. So here 10,60,500 will belong to the holding interest. So that you add there, and by doing this, you find out your group reserves. Okay. So this was all about your illustration number 9. You just need to know how to do this bonus adjustments, when to add and where not to add. By doing that, you will, by following a format itself, you will be able to solve the question. Okay. So if you see, before bonus issue, our cost of control was 87,000, that is goodwill was there, then minority interest was this, a consolidated P&L was this much, then after again we got a capital reserve, then there was minority interest, and then this was a consolidated P&L. Okay, so I hope this question is clear to you. The same working note they have made here, but I have made it in our standardized format, so you can refer to that for easier understanding. Now let's move on to illustration number 10. So in illustration number 10, they are saying you have to prepare a consolidated balance sheet of H Limited on 31st March 2001, date of consolidation they have given, then they have given you the balance sheet. Then they have given you a balance sheet extract basically of H Limited and S Limited. You have to consolidate these both. You have to consolidate these both and find out a consolidated balance sheet. And here they have told that H Limited has acquired the shares of S Limited on 31st March 2001. So this is the date of consolidation. The same thing is the date of acquisition. So if the date of consolidation and date of acquisition are the same, that means the entire period before it is going to be a pre-acquisition period only. Okay, because there is no gap between date of acquisition and date of consolidation. So there is no post period at all. Okay, I hope you understood this. Now let's move on with seeing the question. Seeing the answer, sorry. Okay. So illustration number 10. So the date of acquisition was 31st March 2001. Date of consolidation is also 31st March 2001. So there is 0 months gap between both, which means there is no post acquisition. How much will be the holding interest? So in the question they have told you that H Limited has an investment of 20,000 shares in S Limited. So if 20,000 shares H Limited has, how much is the share capital of S Limited? The share capital of S Limited is 2,50,000 rupees. So it is 2 lakh. Yes, so it is 2,50,000 rupees is the share capital of S Limited. Each share is for 10 rupees, which means there are 25,000 shares in the company. Out of 25,000 shares, 20,000 shares are held by H Limited. So if you see this calculation, so 20,000 is held by H Limited, 25,000 is the total share. So 80% is with the holding interest, the rest of the 20% is with the minority interest. Here we will not prepare analysis of reserves until and unless it is not required. Net assets taken over using equity approach, we find out, we already saw that the share capital of subsidiary companies 2,50,000. Then they also have a pre-acquisition reserve. If you see, so I already told you there is no post-acquisition period. So the entire 1 lakh we are going to consider as a pre-acquisition balance only. So the entire 1 lakh is a pre-acquisition balance. So the total net assets taken over of subsidiary company on date of acquisition is 3,50,000. Next, you find out what is a goodwill or capital reserve. Purchase consideration as given in the question. It's already 2,20,000. If you see, as investments they have given here that they have paid a purchase consideration of 2,20,000. Okay, so this is how much they have invested in the subsidiary company. So 2,20,000. There is no pre-acquisition dividend. There is no bonus issue. So net assets share would be 3,50,000 into 80%. So they have acquired a net assets worth of 2,80,000. Further, they have paid only 2,20,000. So 60,000 they have got more. So that will be a capital reserve. Next is minority interest on date of consolidation. So minority interest on date of acquisition, what will be there? Net assets multiplied by the share of minority interest. So 70,000 is the minority interest on date of acquisition. There is no post acquisition period, so no post acquisition reserve. There is no bonus issue. So the total minority interest will be 70,000 only on date of consolidation also. So now you have to just give effect of all of this. So if you see in the question, let me just erase this quickly so you understand better. Yes. So if you see, first let's take the PP. So it is going to be 5 lakh plus 3 lakh. So all the other line items you have to just add as it is, and then you have to give the adjustments or the working notes that we have prepared. For that you have to give adjustments. Now let's start with PP. So PP is going to be 5 lakh plus 3 lakh, 8 lakh rupees. Okay, that is done. Investments. So investments you will not show when you are preparing the consolidated balance sheet, because this is what you are going to show in the other form. This is what you are going to show in other forms as we have prepared in the working notes already. Okay, so you should not show investment separately, because you're going to club both of this. Okay, then comes the current assets. Current assets also you'll add directly. So all the other assets and liabilities will add directly. So 1,55,000 plus 1 lakh, 1,55,000 plus 1 lakh, 2,25,000. Then share capital. So share capital in the consolidated balance sheet you will only show up the holding interest, which is 5 lakh rupees. So share capital is 5 lakh rupees here. If you see the P&L account, you will go to your consolidated reserves. We have not prepared anything as consolidated reserves. So consolidated reserves will be nothing but the holding interest share plus any post acquisition reserve. So since there is no post acquisition reserve, only the holding interest share will come here, which is of 2 lakh. 2 lakh, and plus you also had created a capital reserve of 60,000. When you on the date of acquisition, like you saw, no, you also have a capital, what do you say, you made a capital reserve of 60,000 here, so that also you have to show in your reserves and surplus in the consolidated balance sheet. So if you do that, your total will be 2,60,000. Fine. After we are done with this, we are left with trade payable. So trade payable is 1,75,000 plus 50,000. So 1,75,000 plus 50,000, 2,25,000. So after all of this is done, one place where everyone makes mistake is they forget to write the minority interest. So as we have already found out in the question, the minority interest is 70,000. You have to write that here. So now once you do this, your balance sheet is going to get tallied. So all the three effects did we give? We showed the minority interest also in the liabilities column, correct? Then we showed this capital reserves also in the liabilities or side of the balance sheet. So these both are covered there. So that is what we had to cover. Okay. I hope you understood this question also. Now let's move on to illustration number 11. So they are saying there is H Limited and S Limited as on 31st March 2002, and the balance sheet is given here. They have given assets, equity as well as liability of both the companies. Then they have given additional information that H Limited has acquired the share of S Limited on 1/7/2001, which will be now considered as your date of acquisition. And they have said that the balance of profit and loss account of S Limited on the date of acquisition was 30,000, which means they're saying on date of acquisition, this was a balance in the P&L account, which means it's a pre-acquisition reserve. Okay, pre-acquisition or reserve or pre-acquisition balance. So here you have to prepare the consolidated balance sheet as on 31st March 2002. So this is the date of consolidation. The information is also given regarding date of consolidation only. The date of acquisition is 1st July. Fine. Now let's prepare the answer for this. So we are going to move on to the next question, which is going to be illustration number 11. Okay, so in illustration number 11, they have told that the date of acquisition is 1st July, consolidation is 31st March. So there is a time gap between 9 months between both. So this 9 month is going to be a post-acquisition period, which means 3 months will be your pre-acquisition period. Okay, perfect. The holding interest, how are you going to find out? So in the question, they have not explicitly given here. So what you have to understand from the question is that see your investment. So you have invested 8,000 equity shares. So you have acquired 8,000 equity shares. How much is the total equity shares? So it is 1 lakh divided by 10 each. So 10,000 equity shares are there in the company. You have acquired 8,000 shares, which means you have acquired an approximate of 80% of the holding interest. The rest 20% is going to be a minority interest. Then since there is a pre and post differentiation, so we will prepare the analysis of reserve. So P&L account, already they said in the question that on the date of acquisition 30,000 was the balance. Okay, so this will come under your pre column. Now how much will go under the post column? So you have to see there is a total reserve of 40,000 in the company on the date of consolidation. So on date of consolidation, the total is 40,000, out of which 30,000 is already pre, so the rest 10,000 is going to be the post. But in post also, the total 10,000 cannot be the post. So here what they are telling you is that on 1st April, there is a balance of 30,000 already. On 31st March, there is a balance of 40,000. So they are saying 10,000 has been on during the year, but we have acquired only on 1st July. So for this 3 months, this will be considered as post. The rest 9 months will be considered as a post period. 3 months as pre and 9 months as post. So this 10,000 also we are going to assume that it has accrued evenly. So 10,000 for 3 months is going to be considered as your pre profits, and 9 months will be considered as a post profit. So this 10,000 you have to split it into 3:9 ratio. So in 3:9 ratio you have to split. So 2,500 will go to the pre column and the rest 7,500 will remain in the post column. So your pre column total is 30,000 plus 2,500, which is 32,500, and post column is 7,500. And that you divide between your holding interest and minority interest. Hope this is clear to you. Okay. Next is net assets taken over. So using equity approach, you do that. Share capital in the subsidiary company was 1 lakh as we saw. And here the pre-acquisition reserve is 32,500. So 32,500. So 132,500 is the net assets taken over. And the cost of control is purchase consideration. How much have you paid? In the question, if you go and see the investments column itself, you will be able to understand. So 1,26,000 H Limited has paid to acquire S Limited. Correct. So here purchase consideration will be 1,26,000. There is no pre-acquisition dividend, no bonus issue. So net assets acquired will be 1,32,500 multiplied by 80%. 1,06,000 has been acquired. You have paid 1,26,000. So you have paid 20,000 more to create a goodwill. Next is minority interest. So first minority interest on date of acquisition will be net assets into the minority interest percentage of 20%. So it is going to be 26,500. There is no bonus issue, but there is a post acquisition reserve. If you see in the question, it is 1,500. So 1,500 you are going to add to it. So there is a total of 28,000 worth of minority interest on date of consolidation. And finally there is a consolidated reserve. Okay, so in consolidated reserve, what you are going to see is first what is the parent's share. So the parent's share is going to be, so as given already in the question, the parent's share here if you see is 50,000 in the P&L account. Okay, so 50,000 is there in the P&L account, and then you also add the post acquisition reserve. So post acquisition reserve, as we have already found out, it is 6,000 rupees. So 6,000 rupees of post acquisition reserve, if you write here, total 56,000 will be your consolidated reserves. So all this now you have to put it into the question and solve the answer. As simple as that. Okay. So here if you see, so what and all will get affected, that alone I will tell you. The rest in the last question itself I told you. So minority interest 28,000 you have to write here. So if you see our minority interest 28,000 is there. Okay, perfect. And then we have found out that the consolidated reserve is 56,000 and there's a goodwill of 20,000. So if you see your consolidated reserve again, it is going to be 50,000, and then there we said that there is a goodwill which you have to write as intangible assets as 20,000. So if you give all these adjustments and do the rest of the addition alone, rest of the things you have to directly add. So if you do that, you will come to your total answer. Fine, I hope this is all clear to you. Now let's move on to illustration number 12. So if you go to illustration number 12, here they have told you that the balance sheets are given below of Virat and Anushka as on 31st March. So Virat is holding 80% in Anushka. Okay, so 80% here is what? 80% here is a holding interest, and they have told you that there is a balance sheet given of 31st March 2001. And they have given you this entire balance sheet where you have equity and then liabilities and then assets. And then they have also given you notes to account where they have given you extra information. Okay, and they are just telling you that as a solution, please just give us a consolidated balance sheet. Okay, before you prepare any kind of consolidated balance sheet, you have to prepare all the steps. Now let's move on to our illustration number 12. Okay, so date of acquisition. What is the date of acquisition? What was given in the question? Let's go to the above column and check that. So if you go and see above, here they have told you that Virat Limited is holding 80% in the shares of Anushka Limited since its incorporation. So since its incorporation is the tagline here, which means he has acquired starting from the day one. So whenever the company of Anushka Limited was established, from the day one, he has a share in the company. Okay. Then there is a date of consolidation. So date of consolidation, as already mentioned in the question, is 31st March. So they have not mentioned any year of incorporation or year of consolidation. So the entire period we are going to consider as a post period only, because before date of acquisition there is no period in the company at all, because date of acquisition itself is a incorporation date. So there is no pre-acquisition profit. So the entire period will be considered as post acquisition. Fine. In the question they have directly given you that holding interest is 80%. So the minority interest is going to be 20% here. Now let's move on to finding out the analysis of reserves. So analysis of reserves, we don't have a pre-period at all. So if you can directly bifurcate the post reserve. So the post reserve is going to be how much does Anushka has in the reserves and surplus? It is 1 lakh rupees. So this entire 1 lakh is post only. Correct. So entire is going to be 1 lakh as post only. Just divide that into holding interest and minority interest. There is no pre-acquisition or anything in the question as yet. Okay. Next is net assets taken over. So under equity approach, you find out what is the share capital of Anushka Limited. So share capital of Anushka Limited is 4 lakh rupees. So as you can see in the question, it is 4 lakh rupees. Okay. So 4 lakh is the share capital in Anushka Limited. There is no pre-acquisition reserve or there is no revaluation gain or loss. So 4 lakh will be the net assets taken over. So how much will be the cost of control on date of acquisition? So the purchase consideration what you have paid will be given in the question in the form of investments. So if you see, non-current investments, note number 3. If you go and see in the note number 3, it is shares in Anushka Limited. They have paid 3,20,000 to get 80% share. So if they paid 3,20,000 to get 80% share, which means they paid a purchase consideration of 3,20,000, and they don't have a pre-acquisition dividend, there's no bonus issue. So here you will reduce the bonus issue. Okay, fine. Yes. So here what will happen? The net assets of subsidiary company, how much is your share? This 4 lakh is your net assets, in that 80% is the holding interest share. So 3,20,000 is what you have acquired. You have also paid 3,20,000, acquired 3,20,000. So therefore there is no goodwill or capital reserve. Next we move on to minority interest on date of consolidation. So on date of acquisition, the net assets was 4 lakh, 20% is the minority share, so 80,000. Post acquisition reserve, how much is the minority share? It is 20,000. So the 20,000 is written here. So total minority interest on date of consolidation will be 1 lakh rupees. Now let's move on to the consolidated reserve. So parent company's own share is 1 lakh rupees, as already mentioned in the question. If you go in the question and see here, parent company share is 1 lakh rupees. Just give me a second. Yes, 1 lakh, correct. So that same 1 lakh in the post acquisition reserve, what is the share of parent company? The share of parent company is 80,000. So 80,000, if you write here, total 1 lakh 80,000 is the consolidated reserve. So now what you have to write here? So 1 lakh 80,000 worth of consolidated reserve, minority interest will be 1 lakh, no goodwill or capital reserve. So these three things you have to remember. So if you see in the question again, so 1 lakh 80,000 worth, so if you see, consolidated reserve is 1 lakh 80,000, minority interest is 1 lakh, there is no goodwill or capital reserve. The rest of the things you have to just directly add. Okay, if you do that, you will get your consolidated balance sheet here. And these all again working notes they have given here, the same thing which I have given in our standardized format. Okay, so now let's move on to illustration number 13. So illustration number 13, they are saying that there is H Limited and it has a subsidiary called S Limited, and the balance sheet is drawn on 1st March 2001. You have to prepare a consolidated balance sheet as at the same date only. Okay, and then they have given you some information. They have told you that there is reserves and P&L account, and they have 25,000 and 15,000 worth of balance on date of acquisition. How much is the holding interest? The holding interest is 80%, and the acquisition happened on 1st April 2020. Okay, 2020, or we can consider as 2000. Okay, this is about the opening balance and the holding interest. Next, they have told you that there is a machinery as well as a furniture, and it has been revalued, and rates of depreciation have also been given here. So this is given about revaluation as well as depreciation. Fine. Okay, and then they have provided you a balance sheet here. Okay, and then they have also given you notes to accounts, and after that the solution starts. So you have to basically prepare a consolidated balance sheet now. So for that, what we are going to do is, we are going to move on to illustration number 13. So in the question, they have already told you that date of acquisition is 1st April 2000, and the date of consolidation, they have told you that you have to draw up a consolidated balance sheet on 31st March 2001. So there is a gap of 1 year. So this entire 1 year gap is going to be considered as a post acquisition period only. So the entire 12 months is a post acquisition period only, because the date of acquisition is on the year start, and the date of consolidation is year end. So the entire period of 12 months is a post period only. Okay. Holding interest they have given in the question as 80%, minority interest, so it will be 20%. Now we are going to do analysis of reserves. So analysis of reserves, why we are doing here is that because they have told you that the pre-balances of P&L and general reserve they have mentioned in the question. So if you go and see your questions, they have already told you that 25,000 will be the balance in the reserves, and 15,000 will be the balance in the P&L account as on the date of acquisition. So as on the date of acquisition means it is going to be considered as your pre-reserves only. So P&L account there is 15,000, general reserve there is 25,000. Okay. So we have to now see how much is the total reserves on date of consolidation. So if you see here, they have given you the balance sheet also on date of consolidation. So on date of consolidation, there is a total reserve of 1 lakh. The bifurcation is going to be 75,000 worth of general reserve and 25,000 worth of P&L account. So here 25,000 worth of P&L is there, P&L balance is there, 75,000 worth of general reserve balance is there. If from this 25,000, if already 15,000 is pre, then the rest 10,000 will be considered as your post. From this 75,000, if already 25,000 is pre, the rest 50,000 will be considered as your post. Are we going to split this post profit into any period or time zones? The answer is no, because the entire period is a post period, so no need to split it. So therefore there is no time adjustment. So you come to the total. So total of pre column is 40,000, post column is 60,000. Now you have to give the effect of revaluation and depreciation. So now let's move on to our working note for that. So they are saying that 1st April 2000 is the date of acquisition, 31st March 2001 is the date of consolidation. Okay, and in the question they would have spoke about two things. One is about machinery and furniture. First, now let's what we are going to do is, so all of this revaluation as well as all of this is happening on the date of acquisition, and that they have mentioned in the question also. So if you see the adjustment here, let me clean this up for you so you understand better. So here they have told first about machinery. What have they told? Let's see. They have said that there is a machinery and the 1 minute. So here they have sold that there is a machinery and the book value of the machinery is 1 lakh. Okay, and they have revalued it for 1,50,000. And then they are saying that this revaluation happened on the date of acquisition itself. Okay, and the rate of depreciation of machinery is 10%. So first let's solve this, then we'll move on to the furniture part. Okay, so what they are saying in terms of machinery, they have told that the book value is 1 lakh rupees. They have told that the book value is 1 lakh, fair value is 1,50,000 on the date of acquisition. All this information is on date of acquisition. So we know that there is a revaluation gain of 50,000 rupees because fair value is more than the book value. Okay, so now what you have to do is you have to see about the depreciation. So I have always told you that if there is increase in fair value, there is also going to be additional depreciation that you have to charge. So here what in the question they would have assumed is that, so listen to this very carefully. So in the question what they would have done is that they have given you the balance sheet of 31st March, okay. But when they have made this balance sheet of 31st March, they would not have considered the effect of revaluation. So now you have to give the effect of revaluation here. So if they have not given the effect of revaluation, which means they would have charged the depreciation also on book value only for the whole year. They would have not charged it on fair value. So now you have to first know how much they charged on book value. So the depreciation percentage is 10%. So on book value of 1 lakh rupees, they have charged a depreciation of 10,000. But the fair value is 1,50,000. So they have to charge a depreciation of 15,000. They have charged 5,000 rupees of depreciation less. So now you will add. So now you will charge a depreciation of 5,000 rupees. So here you have made a gain of 50,000. But on that 5,000 of depreciation also you have to charge as an expense. Okay. So this was all about your machinery account. So what you do in the analysis of reserves is you say that there is an increase in value of the machinery which is 50,000, but you also charge additional depreciation of 5,000. So if there is an increase or decrease in fair valuation, you do it in the pre column. If there is any depreciation related adjustment, you do in the post column. Okay, I hope you understood this. This also we have discussed in the concept video. Fine. Now let's move on to furniture. Okay, so furniture, what they are saying is that, so furniture, they are saying that there is a book value of 20,000 rupees. It was revalued to 15,000 rupees. Okay, and the furniture's depreciation is 15%. Okay, now let's solve this. So if you see furniture, if you see furniture wise, give me a second. Yeah. So book value is 20,000, fair value is 15,000. So there is a decrease in fair value which results in a revaluation loss. Okay. As per depreciation you would have charged on 20,000 only. So 20,000 into 15%, 3,000 rupees of depreciation you would have already charged. But actually at what price you should have charged depreciation? You should have charged only at 15,000. So 15,000 into 15%, 2 to 5,000 rupees, 2,250 rupees worth of depreciation only had to be charged. But you had already charged more in your books. So the 750 rupees of depreciation you have to reverse. So you had to charge only 2,250, but you charged 3,000 rupees. So if you do this, 750 rupees extra depreciation you had charged. So this depreciation of 750 rupees, you will reverse it. Okay. So this effect you have to give in the analysis of reserve statement again. So there is a decrease in value of furniture which results in a decrease in pre-acquisition reserve of 5,000. But there is a depreciation reversal, which means an expense is reversed, which is nothing like your income. So you add the 750 rupees to your post-acquisition reserve. So after doing all of this, you will come to your total, and that total will be split to holding interest and minority interest. I hope you understood this analysis of reserve. This was the most important part and crucial part of the chapter. If you understood this, the other things are regular and easy only. Then you have net assets taken over, so you do using equity approach. So how much is there in the share capital of S Limited? There is 1 lakh. There is 1 lakh rupees. Okay. So if you go in the share capital of S Limited, you have put 1 lakh rupees here. Then pre-acquisition reserve, you have already found out that it is 85,000. So 85,000 you put in here. So totally 1,85,000 is the total net assets taken over of the subsidiary company on date of acquisition. Then cost of control would be PC, will not be directly given in the question. You have to find out using the investments column. So if you see the investments here, see other non-current investments, note number 4. If you see note number 4, they have given shares in S Limited is 1,60,000. So shares in S Limited is 1,60,000. So you write that as your PC amount, and then there's no pre-acquisition dividend or no bonus issue. So net assets would be 1,85,000 net assets. In that 80% is a holding interest share, so 1,48,000. So you paid 1,60,000, but only got a net assets worth 1,48,000. So you paid more of 12,000, which is resulting in your goodwill. Okay, next is minority interest. You will find on date of consolidation. So again, take your net assets multiplied by the minority interest percentage. So 37,000 is your minority interest on date of acquisition. You don't have a bonus issue, but you have a post acquisition reserve. So if you go into analysis of reserves column, this is your post acquisition reserve for minority interest, which is 11,150. So if you total this up, 48,150 will be the minority interest on date of consolidation. Then consolidated reserves, there are two reserves of holding interest. One is general reserve and P&L account. So if you see here, see 2 lakh worth of general reserve and 1 lakh worth of P&L account. So that's what we have also again written here. 2 lakh worth of general reserve, 1 lakh worth of P&L account, and then post acquisition reserve, whenever you're adding, you add it to the P&L account. So post acquisition reserve of holding interest is 44,600. So 44,600 you will add it, and this will be your total consolidated reserves. Hope you understood this. So our minority interest is 48,150. We have a goodwill of 12,000, and then we have a total consolidated reserve of 2 lakh plus 144,600, 344,600. All these three adjustments you have to give in the book. Now let's move on to the answer. So see, 344,600 is the reserves, minority interest of 48,150, and apart from that you have a goodwill of 12,000. That you have to do, and there will be two changes. One in the you see here, one second, I'll show you. So you have to add the appreciation of 50,000 in the P&L PP account, and then you have to less the depreciation of 15,000 also in the machinery. In the furniture, you have to decrease the value by 5,000, and you have to increase the depreciation. So instead, okay, wait, let me just show you this one. How will you do the adjustment for this? So in your book, what was the balance of machinery? So balance of machinery was, one second, is this on date of consolidation? Yeah. So take this machinery balance. What you have to do in this is you will add the increase in fair value. How much was the increase in fair value? And then you decrease the additional depreciation. And in this value, you decrease the reduction in fair value and add the depreciation reversal. If you do that, you'll get the answer. For example, if the machinery value is 90,000, okay, I'll show for only 90,000. Then how much is the, one second, how much is the increase in value? 50,000 is the increase in value. So 90,000 plus 50,000 minus what is the depreciation, additional depreciation to be charged? I think if it's not wrong, yeah, 5,000. 5,000 is the additional depreciation to be charged. So if you do this, it's going to be 90,000 plus 50,000 minus 5,000. 1,35,000 should be the machinery balance. Okay, plus 3 lakh rupees of the holding interest. So 1,35,000. See, 3 lakh plus 1,35,000. If you add these both, it will be the machinery. Same way you have to do furniture also. Okay, I hope you understood this. So this was all about your illustration number 13. Now let's move on to illustration number 14. Perfect. So now let's move on to illustration number 14. So in illustration number 14, that they tell you that there is A Limited, it is holding 80%, which is your holding interest in B Limited. Okay, and here what happens, I've given you as a summary here, that A Limited is selling inventories to B Limited. Okay, the cost of that inventory is 1,80,000, but it is selling at 200 lakh rupees. So A Limited is there, it is selling the inventory to B and the cost is 1,80,000, but B for that it's paying 200 lakh rupees, which means A is charging a profit of how much? 20 lakh rupees. Correct? So A has charged a profit of 20 lakh rupees here. Okay. And what happens? They are telling this is the catch here. So here what they are saying, at the year end or on the consolidation date, the entire inventory is remaining unsold with B Limited. So B Limited has not sold the inventory at all. Okay. So if B Limited has not sold the inventory at all, when you are going to do consolidation, you are going to show A plus B. Okay, you are going to show A plus B and only going to show the inventory amount. Correct. So here whenever we have studied about this upstream or downstream transactions, I have already told you. Let me give you a gist again. So A Limited has certain inventory. Okay. The same thing B Limited also has. Okay. What has happened now? A Limited's book, it has gone. It has come to B Limited's book. Correct. So in A Limited book, there is a profit of 20 lakh rupees. In B Limited book, it has recorded the inventory for 200 lakh rupees. So in A Limited, since it has sold, it is showing a profit of 20 lakh rupees. A Limited, since it has, B Limited, since it has brought the inventory, it is showing it at, this inventory, it is showing at 200 lakh rupees. Now, when you are going to club this both, this is going to show a very wrong picture and very inflated picture, because B Limited is also showing it at higher amount, A Limited is also showing it at higher amount. If this inventory was sold, that means, you know, the entire cost would have been realized at that moment, there is no problem. But here what has happened is that the entire inventory which is there at the year end, it is remaining unsold, which means in B Limited books also profit of 20 lakhs is added with the cost is 180 lakh only. B Limited paid a profit of 20 lakhs. So in B Limited books also 20 lakh profit is being shown. A Limited book also 20 lakh profit is being shown, which is completely wrong, and this should not be the picture. So here there is a case of double profit booking. So you should not do this. So this profit is something which is just shown in the books. This is not a realized profit. You have not yet sold the inventory. So this profit is right now an unrealized profit. This profit right now is an unrealized profit, and we have always understood that unrealized profit should not be shown in the book. Only the realized profit should be shown. So what you do as an answer here is that you say that the unrealized profit of 20 lakh rupees which is there, this should be eliminated. So this should be eliminated from the consolidated financial statements because it is not realized, because the entire transaction is not yet sold. Correct. So how will you reduce this 20 lakh rupees? First, you will reduce this 20 lakh rupees from the consolidated profits, because the entire profit of holding interest will be included. Okay, so this 20 lakh will be there in the profit of the holding company. So first reduce from that in the consolidated balance sheet, and the next subsidiaries inventory will be there. In that also this 20 lakh rupees of profit will be included. You have to reduce from that. So reduce from the value of the closing inventories. Okay, so these two effects you have to show. And this transaction where you sell it from the holding to the subsidiary, it's going downwards. From holding to subsidiary, it's going downward. So this is known as a downstream transaction. If it is going from subsidiary to holding, this will be called as upstream transaction, which is the case number B. Okay, so to understand more about these cases and understand this concept in detail, please refer to my concept video where I explained each point in very detail and how you have to do that adjustment. Okay, here A Limited is holding 75% in B Limited, and here they are saying that A Limited is purchasing the inventories, which means it is going from subsidiary to holding now. Okay, so A Limited is purchasing inventory worth 1,50,000 from B Limited, but it is purchasing at a value of 200 lakhs, which means the cost is actually 150 lakh only, but B Limited is showing it at a profit of 50 lakh and selling it to A Limited. And then they are saying that the entire remaining inventory is unsold with A Limited. So here what has happened in this case is, again there is an unrealized profit which is being shown in the book of 50 lakh rupees. So this you have to eliminate. But from where will you eliminate is the question here. Here in this case, A Limited is showing in inventory 20 lakh rupees of profit. B Limited in its reserves or P&L account is showing a profit of 20 lakh rupees, not 20 lakh rupees, 50 lakh rupees. Correct. Here the profit was earned by B Limited. So this profit will be shown in the reserves or P&L. For A Limited, the A Limited, it has got the inventory only, and the inventory has a hidden profit of 50 lakh rupees. So for A Limited, the profit will be shown under the inventory. So when you are making a consolidated balance sheet, again they are saying that unrealized profit of 50 lakhs should be eliminated. You have to reduce the value of closing inventories by 50 lakh rupees, as well as what will happen is, here you cannot directly go to the reserves and reduce 50 lakh rupees, but because in the reserves of the consolidated balance sheet, only the holding reserves will be included. Okay, here the subsidiary companies reserves are not included. Here the subsidiary companies reserves are not included. So your subsidiary companies reserves will be bifurcated in the analysis of reserves working note. You remember when you are preparing the analysis of reserves working note, we split the subsidiary companies reserves and profit. So in this analysis of reserves working note only, you have to go and reduce the profit from there. So when you are going to do that, see, so this profit which B Limited had earned of 50 lakh rupees, no, this will be split into both A Limited and B Limited as well. So from A Limited's share of profit, you have to reduce 37.5 lakh, which is 75% of 50 lakh rupees. And from the minority share, you have to reduce 12.5 lakh, which is 25% of 50 lakh rupees. So let me explain you this again in case you have not understood. What happens? There is A, which is the holding company. There is B, which is the subsidiary company. So A Limited has got the inventory. So the inventories is inflated with a profit of 50 lakh rupees. So this 50 lakh rupees from the inventories you have to reduce. This is okay. B Limited's reserves and P&L account has again a profit of 50 lakh rupees, which is unrealized. So this also you have to eliminate. But in the last case, A Limited earned a profit of 20 lakh rupees and you directly eliminated it from the group reserves. But in this case, you cannot do the same in the case of B, because the B Limited's reserves or P&L account, this profit which is earned of 50 lakh rupees, no, the B Limited has earned, this will be split into both holding company and subsidiary company, because holding has a 75% share in this. So first you have to reduce the 75% share from the A Limited share of profit, then the rest of the 25% from the minority you have to reduce, okay. So that's what they have told you. The entire 50 lakh will not be reduced directly from B Limited. In that, A Limited's share will be reduced by 75% and minority's share will be reduced by 25%. If you still did not understand this, please go and watch my concepts video, and that I've explained this entire concept in full detail. You'll be able to understand better from there. Moving on to illustration number 5. So illustration number 5, I already taught you in the concepts note is what I've opened here. So if you see in the concepts note, I already taught you, in the question specific points, I told you that illustration number 5 is one different kind of question where the normal format that you have, just give me a second, where the normal format that you have is not going to be helpful. So for this, illustration number 5 alone, I had prepared a separate format in my notes, and gave you this point. This even in the concept video, I had taught you that for one question alone, this format will be useful. So take care of that and do it. Okay. So that is there in my concept notes also. For now, we'll first read the question so you understand the question better, and then we'll move on to solving the answers. So they are saying that there is a company called as Variety Limited. It is holding 46% in the share capital of VR Limited. So right now it does not have a holding interest in the company, correct? They are saying that the shares were acquired at a market price of 17 per share. The balance of the share are held by a foreign collaborating company. And so here what they are saying is, so there is Variety, there is VR. So Variety is holding around 46% shares in VR, and then there is a foreign party which is holding the rest of it. So how much is the rest of it? So it is 100 minus 46, 54% in VR. Okay. And Variety Limited, when it acquired this 46%, it acquired at a share price of 17 rupees per share. Okay. Then they are saying that a memorandum of understanding has been entered into the foreign collaborating with the foreign company, providing the following. So here they are saying that the Variety Limited and the foreign limited got into a memorandum, or rather we can say as an agreement. They got into an agreement, and they have told the agreement terms are given here. So what they have told in the agreement is that, that the shares which are held by the foreign company will be sold to Variety Limited. So they are saying all the 54% share which is held by foreign will be sold to the Variety Limited, and the price per share that they have fixed is, it is going to be calculated. So they directly, like above, they have not given it is 17 per share. So at that rate they are going to transfer. They have told that the price per share will be calculated. So now how is it going to calculate it? They are saying that you have to capitalize the yield at 15%, and so the basic way of calculating it, you have to capitalize the yield at 15%. Now how are you going to find this yield is what they have given next. So they are saying that this yield for this purpose would mean 40% of the average pre-tax profit for the last 3 years, which were 30 lakh, 40 lakh and 65 lakh. Okay. So what they are saying is you have to find out the price per share, you have to capitalize your yield by 15%. Okay. And how you are going to find this yield is that you are going to find it by doing the average of the past 3 years. So it is going to be the 40% of the average of the past 3-year profits. Okay. And the past 3-year profits they have given to you. So you have to first average that, then find out the 40% of that average and then convert it. Okay. So how do you do this? I told you in the answer key. I'll tell you that. Okay. Next is, for now, if you are able to understand the question even like 50%, you are good, you're going good. Okay. They are saying that the actual cost of the shares to the foreign company, at what price did the foreign company actually buy those 54%? It was for 5,40,000 only. Okay. The profit that would accrue to them would be taxable on the average rate of 30%. So they bought it at a cost of 5,40,000. Now when they are selling, when they are making a sale of these 54% to the Variety Limited, they are of course not going to sell it at 5,40,000 itself. They are going to make some profit over this. So they are saying the profit that this foreign company is going to make over the sale to Variety Limited, this profit will be taxable. This profit is going to be taxable, and it's going to be taxable at a percentage of 30%. Okay. And then they are saying that the tax will be payable, the tax payable will be deducted from the proceeds, and the Variety Limited will pay it to the government. So here they are saying, because this is like a taxation concept which they have brought here, here the foreign company has to pay taxes, correct? So here when the foreign company has to pay taxes, usually a concept of TDS get applied. That what they tell is that, I'll give you a mini gist. Okay, so what they tell is that if there is an Indian company, okay, and the Indian company is going to buy something from the foreign company, and the foreign company is making some profits. So on that foreign company's profits, the foreign company has to pay some taxes to the Indian government. Here they are saying that foreign company need not pay directly to the Indian government. Instead, what you can actually do is, foreign company when it is going to be, when it is going to be receiving money, sorry, when the foreign company is going to make a sale, and for that sale Indian company is going to give some money to the foreign company. So when the Indian company is giving this money to foreign company, before giving the entire money, some part of the money which has to be paid as tax, the Indian company itself can pay this tax to the Indian government. Okay. And the rest of the money can be then remitted to the foreign company. So the foreign company need not directly pay the tax. When the Indian company is paying the money to the foreign company, Indian company will deduct a portion of it and pay as a tax to the Indian government, and the rest of it can be then remitted to the foreign company. Okay. I hope you understood this. That is what they have told here. So this is the second one. So first they told about at what price they would sell. Next they told about the cost and the tax part here. And then finally they are saying out of the net consideration, 50% would be remitted to the foreign company immediately, and the balance would be an unsecured loan payable after 2 years. So they are saying out of the total, suppose, they have to pay X amount. So the Indian company has to pay an X amount to the foreign company, suppose. Okay. They are saying that from this X amount, right now 50% they will pay. Right now 50% they will pay. The rest 50% which is there, this will be payable later. So here they will consider the amount which is payable later as a loan, and they will slowly repay the loan to the foreign company. Okay. I hope you understood the gist of the question. After that, what they have given you is that after that they have told you that the above agreement was approved by all the concerned for being effect on 1st April. The total assets of VR Limited, which is the company whose share are being transferred, was 1 crore rupees. Okay, so this is 100 lakh rupees, or what we call as 1 crore rupees. It was decided to write down the PP by 1,75,000. Current liabilities were 20 lakh rupees. The paid up share capital was 20 lakh divided into 2 lakh equity shares of 10 each. So all the information about the balance sheet of VR Limited is being given here. They have told you that you have to find out the goodwill or capital reserve. Okay. So this is one question which you have to 100% mug up in your exam and go. And for that you can use the format that I have given you here. Yes, so what did I tell you? So here, see, this is the two step that you have to follow. So step one, you find out the purchase consideration. Step two, you find out the goodwill or reserve. Okay. So first, how do you find out the purchase consideration is what we are going to understand. So this is a case where already a certain percentage of stake is held by the foreign company and you are obtaining that stake from the foreign company. Okay. First, you have to find out how is the purchase consideration. So they say, what did they tell you? It is going to be the capitalized yield, and in that capitalized yield, you have to multiply your share of parent company. So what is going to be the capitalized yield? They told you that it is going to be the average of the total pre-tax profits of the past 3 years. Correct. And how much of that average you are going to see? They are saying that 40% of the average of total pre-tax profits you have to take, and you have to divide it by the yield percentage. So now let's see here. So what is the average of total pre-tax profits? So the average of total pre-tax profits is going to be, let's first erase this for better understanding. Delete. Yeah. Yes. So these are the past 3 years. So these are the past 3 years profit. So this is the last 3 years profit, which is 30 lakh, 40 lakh, and 65 lakh. Let's first take that. Okay. So let's just open the side by side and do the working. So here, how much they are saying. So here they are telling you that the total of average pre-tax profits are 30 lakh, 40 lakh, and 65 lakh, and you have to do a total of this first. So the total of all these three is going to be, so 30 plus 40 plus 65, it is going to be 135 lakhs. You have to do an average of this total pre-tax profit. So the average is divided by 3. So 135 divided by 3 is going to be 45 lakh. And out of that 45 lakh, they are saying you have to do 40% of the average. So what is the 40% of average? It's going to be 45 lakh into 40%, which is going to be 18 lakh rupees. Now you have to divide this 18 lakh, like I've already mentioned here. This 18 lakh you have to divide it by the yield percentage. So 18 lakh divided by how much was the yield percentage? It is 15%. So 18 lakh divided by 15% would be 120 lakh. So this 120 lakh is nothing but your capitalized yield. So this 120 lakh is nothing but your capitalized yield. Once you have found out this 120 lakh as your capitalized yield, you have to multiply it with the share of the parent company. So the share of the parent company here is, so 120 lakh is your capitalized yield. The share of the parent company, which is a holding company, is how much? It is 54%. The foreign company is a parent company here. So the share is 120 lakh into 54 percentage. It is 64.8 lakh rupees. It is 64.8 lakh rupees. So now if you see here, see, they have also found out the PC to be 64.8 lakh rupees. So your first step is done. Let's just remove all the extra work from here. Yes. Okay. So I hope you have understood. So the first one, which is purchase consideration, is 64.8 lakh rupees. I hope this is clear to you. Next, you have to see how you are going to discharge this PC. So they told 50% of it they are going to settle in cash, the balance 50% in the form of unsecured loan. So 50% in the cash when you are going to do, no. So first you have to find out how much is the tax at source. So first step, you find out how much is the tax at source. Second, you find how much is the 50% remittance. So tax at source is going to be, what is the PC? The PC we have already found out is 64.8 lakh rupees. Okay. What is the actual cost of shares? The actual cost of shares we have already read in the question. I think it is 5,40,000. So it is going to be 5,40,000. Okay, is that correct? Just give me a second. Yes, it is 5,40,000. So if you do so, how much is going to be your profit minus 5.4? So your profit is 59.4 lakh. So your profit is going to be 59.4 lakh. In that, how much is the tax percentage? It is 30% as given in the question. So into 30 percentage. So here this is going to be 17.82 lakh. So this is going to be 17.82 lakh. So this is how much tax you have to pay. So this is how much tax you have to pay, or this is how much TDS the Indian company has to deduct before paying it to the foreign company. So how much are you going to remit? So I hope you are understanding this point. Here you have to remit some amount to the foreign company, but I told you have to deduct the TDS and only remit the remaining. So first you're finding how much TDS you have to deduct. So you have to deduct an approximate of 17.82 lakh as a TDS. So how much is the 50% remittance going to be? So it is going to be, what is the 50%? So the 50% is going to be, so whatever the total purchase consideration is minus the tax at source. So total purchase consideration is nothing but 64.8 lakh. In that you have to give a tax of 17.82 lakh to the government. So if you do this, 46.98 lakh is the total PC that you have to pay. In that 46.98 lakh of PC, you told that 50% is going to go as cash, there is 50% as unsecured loan. So in this 46.98 lakh, you have to now see how much is going to be the 50% of it. So 46.98 lakh into 50%. So 23.49 lakh is what you are going to remit as cash. So 23.49 lakh is what you are going to remit as cash. So if you see this, so the balance, so 50% remittance would be PC minus tax at source into 50%. It has totally come to 23.49 lakhs. Let's just confirm it with the book. See, the TDS is 17.82 lakh. The 50% cash what you have to remit is for 23.49 lakh. I hope you have understood how this has come. Okay, and then they are saying that the balance 50%, how much would that be? The balance would be nothing but the rest of the amount. So the same 23.49 lakh would be the rest 50% also. So the rest 50% is also 23.49 lakh, or how you can find this out is what I've written here. So how you can find this out is what is the total PC. The total PC is 64 point, how much was it? It is 64.8 lakh minus tax at so 17.82 lakh minus 50% remittance which you are doing in cash, which is 23.49 lakh. If you do all of this, you will be left with again 23.49 lakh, which you will be doing it in the form of unsecured loan. Okay, so this was all about your purchase consideration. I hope this is completely clear to you. So how much was the purchase consideration? Purchase consideration was 64.8 lakh. The 50% you are going to remit in cash is going to be 23.49 lakh, in which a tax of 17.82 lakh you have already deducted, and again the remaining unsecured loan is also 23.49 lakh. I hope you understood the calculation. The next one here is going to be, you have to find out what is the goodwill or the capital reserve. So goodwill or the capital reserve, how you are going to find out? You have to first see what is the total PC. So what is the total PC? Just give me a second, let me erase all of this. So what is the total PC? The total PC is 64.86 lakh, correct? This is your total PC. In this total PC, you have to add a existing stake. How much is your existing stake? So your existing stake is, what is the total number of shares of the subsidiary companies? How much shares are you holding? You told you are holding something which is 46%. Correct? This is your stake which you have previously held. What was the purchase price that you previously acquired it for? You acquired it for 17 rupees per share. And from that, you have to see what is the total number of shares of the subsidiary company. The total number of shares of the subsidiary company is, they have given down below, right? So it is divided into 2 lakh equity shares. So the total number of shares here is in the subsidiary company 2 lakh. So in this 2 lakh rupee share, you got a stake of 46% at 17 per rupee. Okay. So 2 lakh multiplied by 46% multiplied by, you got it for 17 rupees, which is for 15 lakh 64,000. So this was your existing stake. So if you add both of this, it's going to come for 64.8 plus 15.64, 80.14 lakh is what you have totally, you have paid to get the 100% stake. This is what you have paid to get the 100% stake. This is what you have paid to get the 100% stake. So now by paying so much, how much have you acquired? You have to find out, right? So minus identified net assets you have to do. So how do you find out the net assets of the subsidiary company? How do you find out the net assets of the subsidiary company? It's already given in the question. Total assets were 100 lakh rupees, and there is a revaluation where there is a write down of property by 1,75,000. So you have to minus this. Apart from that, they are saying that there is a current liability of 20 lakh rupees. So 100 lakh of assets are there. In that 1,75,000 is the write down, and then there is a 20 lakh of liability. Okay, now let's come to this 100 lakh worth of assets, out of which 1,75,000 is a write off of PPE, and then you again have a liability of 20 lakh rupees worth of liabilities. So how much have you totally got? Let's total this, which is 100 minus 1.75 minus 20. You have got 78.25 lakh. So you have got 78.25 lakh as net assets, sorry, as a net assets share, and you have got this 100%, and you have paid 80.16 lakh. So you have a goodwill here of, because you have paid more, you have a goodwill here of 1.91 lakh. You have got a goodwill here of 1.91 lakh. Let's confirm this. It is 2.91. 1 second. 80.16 minus 78.25. Just give me a second. This is coming as 64.8 is correct. 15.64 is correct. So 64.8 plus 15.64. Sorry, this is wrong. This is what I've written is wrong. This is 80.44 lakh. So if you do 18.44 lakh minus 78.25 lakh, it is coming as 2. This is wrong. It is coming as 2.19 lakh. So this is what you have created as a goodwill. So this is what is your goodwill on the date of acquisition. Okay. So I hope this illustration number 5 is also clear to you. You just have to follow the steps that I have written in the. Don't see the ICI format. They have solved the same way, but here I have given you in English. Okay. So they have not told you how and why they have done so steps. So this is what I have given you in your concept notes, which are again available on the Telegram channel. Okay, so you can refer that from that. And there are 2 illustrations which are remaining, which is your illustration number 15 and 16, I believe. Give me a second. So this is 12. So we have illustration number 15 and also illustration number 16, which is pending, and both are related to the concept of consolidated P&L. And so the concepts that I've taught until now are related to your consolidated balance sheet. So for consolidated P&L, I believe that if I make a separate video on it regards to the concepts and plus sums. So what I'm going to do is in a separate video, I'll teach you the concepts which are related to consolidated P&L plus these 2 illustrations related to this consolidated P&L. That itself I'll solve in the video. So yes guys, so with this we have completed all our illustrations as well as our examples. So whatever left right now is the MCQ and your test your knowledge. So these 2 I'm not going to bring any video for these 2 these 2 parts. So this I want all of you to solve by yourself. So please solve by yourself. I have given you an extensive understanding and have solved so many sums that by now you must be able to solve the MCQs in TYK. Okay, so I hope you'll be able to solve it. Still, if you feel that you have some problems or issues and you're not able to understand a certain adjustments or certain wordings from the MCQs or TYK, do comment down that below too. Comment that specific question number so that at least that question I'll bring as a separate video. Okay, I hope this consolidated financial statement series was helpful to you. This was one of the most awaited series and I hope it was helpful. If it was, please make sure to leave that feedback on the comment section below so that the other students who come to watch this video will also be benefited from this video. And all the notes, this answer key which I was using for this video, everything will be available on my Telegram channel. So do join that for more updates too. And yes, thank you so much. If you like this video, please make sure to like, share and also subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video guys. Thank you so much.